Touch that moment of authentic knowing, likely joyful. Remember it and recall the circumstances. Where was it? Maybe in nature, maybe in a museum observing beauty, maybe at a concert listening to music, maybe in a self-reflective moment. But what happened? What did you see, hear, smell, touch, taste? Identify the quality of that experience and be present with it, how you felt. And as you reflect on this, be aware. Right now, you are an individual with a group here this weekend, each one of us with a unique contribution to give to this planetary life. And there are many of us all over the planet actively participating in large and small ways to have a positive impact on the well-being of Mother Earth. Buckminster Fuller said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model." And we build the new model from our knowing of our gifts and offering them fully. So gently lift your inner gaze to 2030. We see in 2030 the benefits of a new model grown out of humanity's collective vision of possibilities, reflecting an embodied living of the very definition of peace. We are living in right relationship with self, others, and all life. We are experiencing a culture of peace and nonviolence, a world that actually works for everyone. Take just a minute, look around, soak in that experience. And now, with another breath, come back fully into this room. Take just a minute each, turning to the person next to you or behind you, hopefully not someone you know. Introduce yourself and share your vision for this world, creating and sustaining peace. What does it look like in 2030? Take a minute and talk to one another.
It's harder.
So if you haven't switched, please do so now so you both get a chance to speak. let's gently come back into the room, and we'll take just a few more minutes to share. A few thoughts. So, central to this world in 2030 is the blueprint or plan that has emerged from the UN Millennial Goals. And that's the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And they offer us a glimpse of this world that actually works for all of us. And for the first time in human history, all countries are agreed upon a plan of action to achieve right relations among all. By 2030, no one left behind. So yes, all systems break down. Simultaneously, all systems break through. And no one speaks to this all systems breakthrough better than Paul Hawken, author of Blessed Unrest and Drawdown. He has research that demonstrates a movement greater, deeper, and more nonviolent than we know. And he says it's the first time that a powerful, non-ideological movement has happened for humanity. And it's our immune response to the political disease, economic infection, and ecological corruption. He says, this is not a time to be hopeful. Rather, it is a time to be fearless and act. He also speaks to climate change through Drawdown, and I highly recommend it. I'm sure it will be one of the conversations this weekend. So we are building our capacity to respond. We are building a culture of peace and nonviolence, and we are actually building a world that works for everyone. Brad, can you hit that? This is about 1 minute and 20 seconds. You may
Hello. Hi. Hi, my name's David Byrne. I know that things can seem pretty hopeless these days. I often feel that way too. So, a little while back, I started looking for reasons to be cheerful. And believe it or not, I found some. I found a lot, actually. And I had an idea. What if we started a project and brought some of those reasons to be cheerful into sharper focus? We looked at things that are working, and our team told us stories to help us understand those things better. Things that might be copied, replicated, scaled up, spread around. That's what this project is about. We're documenting stories of solutions, not just good ideas, but real positive change that's being made by people and communities all over the world. This is a crazy time, and you might be thinking that focusing on good stuff is just a distraction. But I disagree. I think it's crucial to keep us from giving up. Yes, it's a tonic, but it's also energizing. It gets us engaged and brings us together. It might even be a more accurate picture of the world than what we're usually shown. These aren't stories about how we wish things were. These are stories about how they are, right now. I feel better already.
Me too. He does a really nice job with this, so I recommend that you check it out. And you're going to hear so many of these stories and so many of these reasons over the weekend, but I just want to share a couple. You were aware that at UCLA, the world's first research institute on the science of kindness was just announced. I love that. Kindness matters. On the 25th of July this year, UN Resolution 73-329, look at the language of this that was introduced, promoting the culture of peace with love and conscience. I mean, let's face it, it really is all about love, more love. Then, with the declaration granting the rights of personhood to the Klamath River, the Yurok tribe joins other indigenous communities in what is a growing rights of nature movement, and it's aimed at protecting the environment. And Afghanistan and Ethiopia, and in Ethiopia it's a woman, recently announced ministers of peace. Bolivia is leading the way. A number of countries now passing laws that say they give nature equal rights to humans. And particularly for the youth in the room, but for all of us who know youth, this summer in Romania, The National Peace Academy will be one of the co-sponsors of the Global Youth Rising summer program. Once again, peace-building leadership from around the world. So a new story is emerging, and it's clearly based on new tendencies and trends. It's a time of cooperation, peace, goodwill, and pragmatic approaches to living together, such as a sharing economy, global commons, bioregional dialogues, education for all, clean water rights, and so much more. And we, the people, we are that new story. That's why I'm excited to be here this weekend with all of you and to discover together in even more depth our interconnectedness in that story. So I offer 5 themes for global citizens on the path to realizing this world that works for everyone. First, peace building is an inside job. Each of us called to be a demonstration model. And this means grounding ourselves in our truth, our knowing, becoming whole ourselves, and offering our unique contribution on behalf of the common good. And a personal practice of peace, of kindness, of mindfulness is essential. Second, it's a time of group endeavor, a time of cooperation. The spirit of goodwill is alive and well, and goodwill is love in action. Humanitarianism is foundational for us as global citizens. Third, it is all about relationships. The science of relationships and the skills of relationship building are paramount in a culture of peace. Social emotional skills are necessary components of the peace builder's toolbox. Empathy, anger management, nonviolent communication, de-escalation of violence, deep listening and dialogue, and the understanding that unmet needs drive behavior. Fourth, conflict is inevitable, violence is not, nor is it sustainable. We will not create and sustain peace while direct violence is still our cultural norm. And we can all learn to resolve conflict wisely and responsibly before it escalates to violence. And fifth, restorative justice is at the heart of peace building. And by this I mean restorative justice as a way of life. We are at choice in every moment. It's a practice of addressing and repairing harm in circle with community, and it begins with me. What happened? How did it impact others? What will we do to repair the harm, and how do we ensure it never happens again? A major shift from punitive to restorative. So let's ask the question, what can I do as a global citizen on this pathway? 5 things. First, I can take personal and shared responsibility for being the change I wish to see in the world. Second, I can encourage and express goodwill, love in action, and name and appreciate the signs of goodwill everywhere. Third, I can seek out others who are inclined to this spirit of cooperation, who demonstrate a willingness to work for what they want, instead of always fighting against what they don't want. An attitude of positive peace, not anti. Fourth, I can offer my unique contribution on behalf of the common good, knowing that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And fifth, I can participate, act. Quick example, this solstice, December 21st, millions of people at 9 p.m. GMT, 4 p.m. on the East Coast, New York time, will ring bells and take 1 exact minute of silence. Imagine a planetary pause for cooperation, peace, and freedom. So it's all about relationship. And as President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, if civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationship, the ability of all peoples, of all kinds, to live together and work together in the same world at peace. And finally, Ambassador Anurul Chowdhury, former Undersecretary and High Representative of the UN, a friend and mentor for many years, he's responsible. We're celebrating 20 years this year, the decade for a culture of peace and nonviolence on behalf of the children of the world. Women at the Center of Peace, UN Security Council Resolution 1325. Along with the decade for a culture, it's the program of action and declaration that's celebrating 20 years. And the UN is asking a big question. Is peace a human right? And land that right in that row right there with all of you high school students. Is peace a human right? Because every time humanity asks a big question, we get a big shift. Should women have the vote? Is slavery acceptable as a cultural norm? Is peace a human right? Dag Hammarskjöld said, the pursuit of peace and progress cannot end in a few years in either victory or defeat. The pursuit of peace and progress with its trials and its errors, its successes and its setbacks can never be relaxed and never abandoned. So we know that energy follows thought. Whatever we choose to focus on, we're going to get more of. Let's choose to focus together over these next couple of days on creating and sustaining peace as we talk it over at Mohonk. May the spirit of peace be spread abroad in our hearts, through our groups, and throughout the world. I love you all. I'm happy to be here with you. I'm going to invite Sue DeChico to come up, and will you talk about the Peace Crane project, which is now literally all over the world, and you probably saw them hanging up there, so come and use them.
Thanks. If everybody can hear me, I'd rather stand up here. Can everybody hear me in the
No.
back?
No.
Mine, up here, mine. Well, no.
It's a roving mic.
I need both hands. But I can do it from up here as long as you can all see me. So thank you, Dot, and thank you so much to all of those that made it happen for me to be here today. So I thought I'm going to set my watch so I don't go